Alright guys, so I'm recording these one after another, just going to try to bang out as much content as I can here. So what I'm going to go over is the basic combos for the S-Force deck. And so the first thing we want to start with are the one card combos. Now I don't have this all organized properly. I'm literally recording this right after recording the deck profile. So just bear with me on that a little bit. But both of these fields can be made, or this field can be made, starting with either S-Force Signify or Witch of the Black Forest, whether it be normal summon on Witch or Dark Magical Curtain whenever we get it. So we'll start with S-Force Signify. So we're going to normal Signify, we're going to use its effect, and we're going to add an S-Force from deck to hand. And so what we want to add is Retroactive. Now Retroactive, without activation, we will then use Retroactive plus Signify to link summon into S-Force Nightcatcher. Nightcatcher's effect will allow us to add one S-Force spell or trap from our deck to our hand. And if your opponent tries to Veiler or Impermit, you can chain its second effect, which is the banish to summon from deck, in order to dodge that. So we will add S-Force Origin. So now we will use Nightcatcher's effect. We will banish it. And Retroactive has the condition, I explained this in the deck profile, that if you were to banish something from hand, you can banish this from graveyard instead. Does not activate. And we will be adding S-Force Gravitino. Now, one thing you do want to pay attention to, because we don't have WP, you need to pay attention to where you are zoning your cards. There's been plenty of times where I've had to awkwardly change things on the opponent's turn in the order in which I use things because I messed up my zoning. I'm still working on it. We'll get there when we get there. Gravitino's effect to add an S-Force card from deck to hand, so we're going to add World Sorting. Now we're going to activate Origin. Origin allows you to special summon from hand, graveyard, or banished, but the monster's banished when it leaves the field. And if... Sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze for a second. If another card is banished while it's in the graveyard, you can banish this card and then banish one S-Force from deck and send one from deck to graveyard. So we will use it to bring back Retroactive. And then we will use Retro in order to make our Nightcatcher, or Night Chaser. We will then activate S-Force Origin to banish itself. I'll move my deck over to here and the extra deck over here now, kind of make it look more like an official field. And we will banish Lapswell from deck, and we will send, in this case, because you started with Signify, normally if you started with Witch, you'd want to send Signify here. In this case, we're just going to send Platina. So now from here, we're going to activate Night Chaser's effect. We're going to return an S-Force to the extra deck, so we can return Night Chaser itself, and we're going to special summon Lapswell. Lapswell's effect can special summon an S-Force from graveyard, which will get us Platina. Platina's effect will get us one from Banish, which will get us Nightcatcher back. From here, we are now going to go into the Fiendsmith line, so we are going to send Lapswell to go for our Fiendsmith Requiem. Activate Requiem to send it to the graveyard, and now we are going to summon our Lacrima, and use Lacrima's effect to send Engraver. Now we'll use Engraver's effect to put Requiem back to summon itself, and now we will link these two off for our Fiendsmith sequence. We will now use Sequence to shuffle Lacrima and Engraver back in order to make the Fusion Lacrima. And we'll use this Lacrima's effect to bring back Lapswell, and now we'll overlay these two for Caesar. So now we have our special summon protection. Now, where do we go from here? Normally, you would then go through your DMod line, you would use Gravitino plus Sequence in order to make WP, and you'd be off to the races from there. You'd be all set. You could make Mystify the following turn, but because we don't have WP, we do have to do things a little bit differently. So first, we're going to banish Platina to summon Dark Magician of Destruction. Use Dark Magician of Destruction's effect. And this will get us our Gaze of Timaeus. Now, from here, you have a couple of options. You can choose to make an IP and end the board here, You can choose to manually make a Dragoon and then forcibly bring it back. There's quite a few things you can do. Primarily, what I end up doing is I just take these two, I link them off for Masquerena, and then I will set these two and pass turn. Now, it is a little bit weaker because we don't have WP to be able to get an extra negate during the following turn. But what we will do is we will pass turn to our opponent, and then during our draw phase, activate World Sorting, and then activate the Gaze of Timaeus. So we will put Dark Magician of Destruction back, and now we will get Dragoon. We will then use Dragoon to negate a card, and then we will use Masquerena, where we will use Sequence, Masquerena, and Dragoon in order to make Quartet. And we need to summon it over here. Very, very important in this spot. Quartet will then revive Masquerena and Dragoon. Now, because we have an arrow pointing here, we're going to activate Nightcatcher's effect. We're going to banish it, and because we have World Sorting, we're going to banish, and the reason why we do this later is we do it for when they establish something, and we'll send, in this case, let's just send a Retro. And now we will banish something from the field or from the graveyard, and we will also summon Mystify. Now, Mystify has the effect that if there is an opponent's monster in this card's column, it cannot be targeted with card's effects, nor can the opponent special summon by activated monster effects. So any monster effect that you use to special summon something is not going to work. I have to check on the rulings, but as far as I'm aware of, this would prevent Cool Tunes from being able to synchro from hand because they do activate in order to summon. So your Gaze of Timaeus would go. And then from here, so you've already had 2 negates with a Dragoon. You have 2 special summon negates. You've already dodged a couple of things. You've banished a card, and now you've pretty much locked them. Now, normally, some people will say, well, I'll just summon something that's not to a zone. Well, luckily, this has a quick effect that I can target one monster on the field and move it to another main monster zone. What this also means is when you play against Sky Striker and they summon their Shizuku or they summon their Hayate. You don't want to do it on 0. And they put it here. All right, well, now I'm going to do this and I'm going to put it there. And now all of your spells are turned off. Now, can they still link climb? Sure, but it at least gives me a little bit of a window in order to do things. So that's the combo starting with Signify. Pretty good. Will be better once we get Fancy Ball and some other things. But now we will go through the Witch of the Black Forest line, which is very similar. And then we will be all good to go. So, when Dark Magical Curtain comes out, I know I talk about that card a lot, it's really good for this deck. Draw phase, Dark Magical Curtain, special Witch of Black Forest from deck. We don't have that right now, so draw phase, standby phase, main phase, normal Witch of Black Forest. Make sure you hold doing your next action for about 5 seconds, not long enough to be stalling, but enough for your opponent to think, all right, where is this going? So you'll link that off for Artemis, and then activate its effect to add a monster from deck to hand within the set parameters it has, so it'll be Retro. Now, Retro and Artemis, because Nightcatcher only needs 1 S-Force monster. So it's 2 monsters, including an S-Force monster. So these are 2 monsters, including an S-Force monster. We'll get Nightcatcher. Nightcatcher effect. And the combo basically goes through the exact same things here. It's just a different setup. So instead of it being, Signify add Retro, it's Witch add Retro. And then we'll do the same thing. Activate its effect. Banish it. Banish this. Get our Gravitino. Just probably at the top of the deck. There we go. Gravitino. We'll get World Sorting. Then activate Origin. Get back. Retro. Retro will now go into Night Chaser. Origin will banish itself. And now in this instance, this is where it changes a little bit. Because we haven't used Signify, if you've been hit by Droll, you can't do this line. If you're not afraid of Droll, then it doesn't really matter. This line also does require you to run Rahamu, which I don't, which would be you would banish the Lapswell, and I'll still show you the line. I'll just flip a card over. and send Signify to grave. And then you would use Chaser, bring itself back, summon Lapswell. Lapswell will bring back Signify. Signify will then add from deck to hand, so you would add Platina. And then from here, we would just go through the normal Fiendsmith stuff as well. So Requiem, Requiem out. I know my cards are a mess right now. Hopefully you guys don't have OCD and this is driving you insane. Lacrima, send, Requiem, put back, special, link, go into sequence, shuffle these two back, get Lacrima, get Lapswell, XYZ these two for Caesar, and then from here you would use these two to make Rahamu. Rahamu's effect will activate. So these will be in grave, and I will just pick Albion from extra deck just to serve in its place. Summon it here, because that's summoned to a zone that's available and it points down right. And Rahamu's effect, so we will normal summon this without tributing, and then we will use its effect in order to bring back Signify. And then now from here, we have pretty much free reign to go wherever we want in our extra deck. But from here, it would just normally be banish the Platina, summon Destruction, getting Gaze of Timaeus, and then using these two to make IP. I'm sorry, not use these two to make IP, and then set these two and pass from here. This board can be a little bit stronger, not a lot though, which you can opt for, depending on how you zone things and the way you move things. There could be a way to get Rahamu plus Gravitino available in order to make a Night Catcher or a Night Chaser, to be able to get your Platina back, or, you know, whatever you try to do from there. But those are the two main combo lines. That's how pretty much it feeds through everything. You can see, you know, from the extra deck, I really cut down everything except for the main essentials of what is needed for the extra deck. And I will quickly do just a couple of shuffles and just give you guys kind of like a sample hand of what you can expect from this. So I hope you guys are enjoying the S-Force content. So while I'm shuffling, I'll give a little bit of a backstory. My grandfather worked in security all of my life. I currently work in security. And so when I saw the deck get announced as Security Force in the OCG, I immediately knew I had to build this deck. And I've had the cards, and I had them for a while, and I kept hearing, you know, they're going to make support later, they're going to make support later. And then, you know, a couple years went by, and nothing. And then finally, randomly, out of the blue, the new S-Force cards get announced, and it's like, okay, well, now this deck has some life. You know, is it meta? No. But is it strong? It definitely is. I think once we move away from the cool tunes, seeing your entire hand and branded, you know, interacting and popping and everything, I think this is definitely a good, strong rogue contender. If you're looking for something to take to a locals to surprise people, you can. As far as getting, you know, far in a regional, don't really know how well that's going to work out in the current format. So right now we will go through a test hand so we can see this hand did not look very good at all. This can be a problem. We do have our one starter. The problem is opening double origin really isn't going to help us much there. So we will put that back, shuffle up a little more, and we will see, all right, Lapswell, Ash, Bridgehead, Origin, Witch. So immediately here, from this hand, the first thing I'm going to do is normal summon Witch because I want to confuse my opponent. I'm joking, that's not really it. The main reason why I want to go the Witch line first is because Witch cannot be hit by any hand traps, aside from Ash when it hits the grave, and who's going to Ash a Witch? They're going to save it for something else. So Witch is going to hit the field first, and then we're going to link that off for the Artemis. And then activate Witch's effect. They're going to want to see what you're getting, and they're probably expecting you to get a hand trap, because you can't activate the card's effect. And then we'll add a retroactive, and now we will sit here for about 30-40 seconds while your opponent reads this card and tries to figure out what the hell it does. And now from here, doesn't matter what happens, I can still go full combo. So for example, let's say my opponent drolls me here. I can now use Retro plus Artemis in order to make... Where are you at? Where are you? Nightcatcher. Nightcatcher is not going to add, but I can still use its effect and still continue things from here. Now, instead of going Gravitino in this exact moment, I would actually go straight, if I didn't have Lapswell in hand, I would go for Lapswell, but instead, this time I will go for Platina, and then Platina to get Nightcatcher back, because we want to save Origin to be able to make our Link Summon afterwards. So Origin, bring back Retro, get rid of Retro, or Chaser, Origin, which will then banish. In normal cases, we wouldn't have Lapswell in hand, so then we would just banish Lapswell and then continue from there. But in this case, we will banish Gravitino, and then we will send Signify to grave. And then we will Chaser, go back into this, and now we'll go through. Now, even though you're not getting the Gaze of Timaeus, you can still choose to go this route. Personally, at this point, I wouldn't. At this point, I would just kind of leave the board-ish kind of here. And then during the opponent's turn, use Nightcatcher and... I'm sorry, not Signify. You want to send Retro for the follow-up. Use Nightcatcher with it, plus Retro Engrave to make Mystify. And at this point, it's just survive till the next turn. Not having... so opening the Lapswell is what really killed the combo here. Because otherwise, I could have Lapswell, gotten back Platina. I could have gone the full Fiendsmith route. So you do kind of, you do run into that if you open your combo pieces. I mean, but that's pretty much any deck. If you open a combo piece, that's an extender, not really a starter. So I will do one more shuffle up test hand, and then I will let you guys go about doing whatever you want to do. Oh, let's see. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do a little halfway cut. Now let's see what we get. So Ghost Ogre, okay, that's fine. Rhoda, fine. Signify, Witch, Origin. So here's a hand where you're not really sure what you want to do. Do you want to do Witch first, or do you want to do Signify first? If you do the Witch line, you can get Signify into Graveyard and then get a search from Signify while having it in hand. If you don't, you're kind of stuck either way. In this hand specifically, even if they have an Ash, you're still getting full combo. They need Ash plus something else to stop you, because if you normal summon Signify, they Ash, you Rhoda, get Retro. You normal summon Witch, send Witch for Artemis, Witch effect, they Ash it, you already have Rhoda. So this hand's kind of already there. I'll just put that to the bottom. And now we have one last bonus one. So we got Fallen, Droll, World Sorting, Signify, and another Fallen. This would definitely be one of those hands to where one interaction is more than enough. Yeah, I'm thinking I might add more Fiendsmith stuff into it. I mean, going second, this hand really isn't too bad. If, we add in, of course, Droll Bridgehead, we're good to go from there. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any questions about S4 stuff, feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you want to stay up to date, you can choose to subscribe. I'm not going to ask you guys to. Not going to ask you guys to like the video. You guys do whatever you want to do. I'm uploading this content strictly because I love the deck and I want to share the deck with you guys. I'm not in this for subscribers. I'm not in this for likes. My channel's not monetized. I don't care if one person watches this or 1,000 people watch it. But if one person watches it and is like, you know what? I want to play S-Force. Let me ask some questions. I'm all for it. So, hope you guys enjoy. Hope you guys have a good day. catch you on the next one.